November 11th, 2010. That was the day I survived an explosion that shook an entire city. But the real horror wasn't the blast itself. The real horror was the thing that came home with me that night. Back then, I was living in Karachi. Near our apartment was an old government building. The place was always surrounded by security guards, but nobody really knew what happened inside. People would just say, "It's a government office. Don't ask too many questions." That evening, I came home exhausted from work. My head was pounding. My whole body hurt. So I decided to walk to the gym. It had a sauna, and I figured it would help me relax. The gym was only a few blocks away, so I went on foot. I still remember checking my phone, 6:17 p.m., and somehow, that exact moment split my life into two parts. Before the explosion and after it, I had been walking for maybe 10 minutes, when suddenly, the ground trembled beneath my feet. Not like an earthquake. It felt more like something enormous underground had punched upward. And then, boom! A massive explosion ripped through the air so violently it felt like the sky itself had cracked open. A shockwave slammed directly into my chest and threw me onto the pavement. For a few seconds, everything turned white. Then, silence. The kind of silence where your ears forget how sound works. I touched my ears. Blood was running from both of them. Slowly, the noise came back. Car alarms, screaming, people crying, glass shattering everywhere. Then I smelled it. Gunpowder, burning metal, and burning human flesh. That smell still follows me to this day. Terrified, I stood up and started moving toward the smoke. That's when debris started raining from above. Dust, concrete, glass, and pieces of human skin. I froze when I noticed a strip of skin stuck to my jacket. Shaking, I ripped it off and kept moving forward. The closer I got, the worse it became. Walls had collapsed. Cars were flipped upside down. Fire was everywhere. People lay across the street begging for help. Some were missing legs. Others had no arms. One man kept shaking his family members, trying to wake them up, but they were already dead. And then I saw something I've never forgotten. A boy, maybe 19 or 20 years old, was lying in the middle of the street. His body was twisted away from me, but his neck was bent backward, facing directly at me, and his eyes were locked onto mine. His legs were bent the wrong direction. I stood frozen for several seconds. It honestly felt like he was about to stand up. Then someone behind me screamed, "Run! There could be a second bomb!" At that exact moment, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. My hands were trembling as I opened the message, and the second I read it, my blood turned cold. It said, "You shouldn't have stayed there." I looked around immediately. Thousands of people were running in panic, but in the middle of the crowd, one man stood completely still, dressed in black, not moving, just staring directly at me, and then suddenly, he disappeared into the crowd. That night I made it home, but I couldn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., I woke up and noticed my bedroom door was halfway open. In the dim hallway light, someone was standing there. The same young man, the same broken neck, the same eyes, just staring at me. I screamed and backed away, and in the next second, he vanished. I tried convincing myself it was trauma, shock, hallucinations, but then he came back the next night, and the night after that, every single night, standing silently in the hallway, watching me. Finally, one night, I gathered enough courage to ask, "What do you want from me?" And for the first time, he answered. In a weak voice, he whispered, "You saw him." "Who?" I asked, barely able to breathe. Slowly, the dead boy lifted his broken arm and pointed toward the corner of my room. I turned my head carefully, and there, standing in the darkness, was the man in black. But this time, he had no face, only burning eyes. And right then, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I opened the message. One sentence. That's when he realized, "You saw him too." And at that exact second, every light in my apartment went out.